Kaliym Islam here, and welcome to another conversation with the TrainingPro. Now close your eyes for a second and visualize a relay race. The runners get set in their starting blocks. The gun goes off. The contestants begin running, batons in hand, racing to get their baton to their anxiously awaiting teammate. The baton is passed from runner to runner until the anchor or last runner on the team crosses the finish line. Now a well-run relay race is a thing of beauty. When the runners are in sync and the handoffs go smoothly, there's no other track and field event that's as exciting to watch. A problem arises, however, when the handoffs don't go smoothly and the baton is dropped, or when one member of the team is having a bad day. When this happens, the entire team loses, and there's nothing that the other teammates can do to help. If the runner on the third leg of the relay wants to make an adjustment, there's no easy way to communicate that change to the runner who's starting the race. Now, consider the dynamics of a rugby match. Not as artistic as a relay race. The team members are bunched together into something that's called a scrum. The entire formation moves together. It moves slowly left, slowly right. Sometimes the formation moves forward, and then other times the formation moves backwards. Suddenly the entire team sprints forward toward their goal. Then they bunch up again into a scrum. This is followed by another sprint and yet another scrum. Their close proximity to each other in these scrums allows team members to communicate changes in strategy to everyone on the team at the same time. If one team member is having a bad day, the others are able to quickly adapt, adjust, and compensate. Now our current approaches to instructional design more closely resemble a relay race than they do the rugby match. The process begins with the business partner who contacts the training department about a possible project. Someone from the training group then meets with the business partner to gather some initial requirements. The initial requirements are then passed on to another team member who conducts a needs analysis and produces a design document. This design document, like a baton, gets passed off to someone else that's responsible for creating a prototype. The prototype is then passed off to a team member for testing. The finish line is finally crossed when the business partner approves the training program. Now, one big problem with this approach is that as the virtual baton gets passed from team member to team member, it's highly likely that the initial requirements will change, and adjustments are going to need to be made. Now, as Bob Mosier, the Chief Learning Evangelist for Altuitive, pointed out in just the November issue of Chief Learning Officer magazine, change is constant, and we as learning professionals need to examine how we design content and who we involve. When changes occur, the serial nature of our current processes make it difficult to communicate to the entire team in a way that allows everyone on the team to make the appropriate adjustments. The siloed nature of the work approach makes it challenging, if not impossible, for team members to compensate and assist other team members. Now consider how the instructional design process would play out if it more closely resembled the rugby match that we just illustrated earlier. The entire team would huddle together with the customer to jointly identify the project's requirements. The team would then meet together in scrums in order to jointly come up with a strategy. Once the strategy was agreed to, the team would then sprint forward to complete the agreed upon tasks. Periodically, the team members would come together into scrums to assess the process, identify changes, and make adjustments to the strategy. If the customer changed his or her requirements, the entire team would hear about it at the same time in one of the scrum sessions. The team would therefore be positioned to examine the implications of these changes holistically. The designer, for example, and developer would be positioned to quickly come up with an approach to address a change in learning requirements. They could jointly figure out how to account for the addition of, let's say, a new learning segment or new audience segment. If they were using the relay race approach, it's highly likely that they wouldn't even know that the requirements changed until they presented their completed project. If the person responsible for testing the links in the e-learning course needed some extra hands in order to complete the task, the entire team would be positioned to help out, as opposed to receiving an email that testing would take an additional week. Now at DTCC, we've seen firsthand how creating small teams that are self-directed and dedicated full-time to single projects can virtually eliminate the baton dropping as a result of miscommunication and finding out at the last minute that the learning solution that that we just spent a lot of time building was useless because the requirements changed along the way and no one knew. Now, a rugby match might not be pleasant to watch, certainly not as pleasant to watch as a relay race. But if you're interested in reducing communication gaps in your instructional design process, you might consider dropping the baton and picking up a rugby ball. Now, until our next conversation, this is Kaliym Islam, the Training Pro.